What's up, guys? This is Xander again. Basically, this is a review of the both Elephant or BE Tech G36k plastic gearbox version. This gun is about 25-30 bucks used, maybe upwards of 45 new. Personally, wouldn't pay that much for it. It's kind of hard to find, along with the metal gearbox version. But basically, this is going to be a quality review, how good the parts are and whatnot. After all, it is an LPEG. However, in my opinion, it's probably the best or one of the best LPEGs out there. So, to start with, the body, like the metal gearbox version, is like a very gloss-looking, kind of non-textured ABS plastic. You can kind of see a little distortion on the mag well here, which is sometimes seen in some of the handguards. This handguard's pretty nice, but some of them get kind of sloppy. The grip is more textured than the rest of the body is, sadly. The stock is almost completely smooth. Same with the carry handle, and the foregrip is a little bit more glossy. It's pretty sturdy though. It's definitely usable. It's about as flimsy as a classic Army body. It's about the same flex when you take it apart. The foregrip is probably one of the weaker parts of this gun, because unlike the classic Army, this does not have tabs in the front to keep it nice and sturdy. Instead, what they did is they made it really tight around the front of the barrel here, so it doesn't wobble as much, but there's still wobble. And also, because of that, you have to unscrew the flash hider every time you take the battery out. Now, I don't have the foregrip pin in right now, for the sake of this review. Basically, you pop that pin out and slide the barrel off. So here's the foregrip. It's got the little weight in there. It's hot glued in there, so you can possibly push it out right here. This grip is prone to splitting, so if I were you, I'd probably put a bead of super glue on the inside of the seams there. Okay, now this is the outer barrel assembly. Basically, you have a threaded end cap here. This is metal along with the inside of the flash hider. Metal. It's a standard clockwise, I'm not sure exactly what diameter, somewhere around 14 millimeters probably. This is all plastic. These tabs tend to break off pretty easily after a while, just naturally trying to cram that battery in there. What I found helps a lot is to actually go in and sand that out. Also, another thing, this has been converted for a C-type use, which is really easy. You just chop it there, right at that. Take this end cap and move it down there, and that's it. You got a C-type outer barrel assembly, so that's handy. Basically, the fasteners on this gun are absolutely terrible. The screws strip pretty fast. Notice mainly this one on the other side here. This thing with the Allen key in there just goes really bad, and then you'll have to use a pair of pliers or whatnot to get this thing out. The selector switch is also pretty bad. It's got a screw right there in the middle, and it's silver instead of a small hex key down there like the JG, TM, CA, etc. versions. Let me give you a close-up here. This is the selector switch. As you can see, it's just painted over a freaking like white plastic or something. It chips off really easily, and it's loose because it's the lower grade version. It doesn't have that little tiny spring and notch in there that clicks it in place, just all held in by friction. It does come out of full auto sometimes. As you may have noticed here, the selector gears and whatnot are plastic. They have held up pretty well, but because they do have a little bit of flex, it also contributes to the problem of it sliding out of place. The first thing that really goes bad on this gun, I guess I would say, is the charging handle. Basically, it's a flat black plastic. It's painted over in black, but you know the paint also chips away after a while. One of the problems is, well, this one's been fixed, but what I have here is a problematic version. As you can see, the spacers on this gun for the charging handle assembly are the same width, which means, well, naturally the one in the front is longer because of the charging handle assembly. They didn't exactly engineer that too well. But basically it wants to pop up a little bit after some light usage. Basically what you can do to fix that is just sand that spacer down and sand the stem down under it. you'll get a nice finish. But you can see here, there's a lot of slack in the front there because of that spacer problem. It's even really crooked in there. Oh, also I forgot, these do not come whited, but as you can see, the trades are actually somewhat accurate, so that's a nice plus, more so than the other brands. Another thing about this gun is the lightweight. Now that's because obviously it's an LPEG, low powered electric gun, plastic gearbox, yada yada, but pretty much everything that was metal on the Classic Army or TM version is plastic. So the trigger is plastic, the selector switch is plastic, the inner charging handle assembly is plastic, meaning this frame here, that is metal on the other versions. The sling release, or the stock release is plastic, and the stock plate, I guess you could say, is also plastic. And notice it doesn't have an Allen screw that goes into the gearbox. So here's the metal version off at JG, but basically you can see the difference. You won't have this metal ring for the sling mount on this one. It'll be a lot more weaker. You don't have that key, as I mentioned, and also the bar for the stock swivel is just held in by friction instead of, you know, a very small Allen key right there to lock it in. So you might want to watch out for that. I haven't had any problems with it so far. The carry handle is actually really sturdy, especially for an LPEG. It's like really sturdy, just as sturdy as the Classic Army version. Screw points are a little bit more primitive. One thing about this thing is instead of just sliding on with the tracks on the Classic Army version, whatever, it just goes on top and then screws in. So you can see there's little cutouts, and to help with the weight, they actually put a metal weight inside this cavity here before you screw it on to help with the lack of weight. This eyepiece here is rubber, however the scope is totally for looks. There's, as you can see, no magnification, pretty much pointless, and as most people say, you know, the iron sights on this scope aren't the best. That's about it for that. The inner barrel is this standard aluminum cheapy barrel. Most of them come with a bit of orange paint on the end, which makes it a pain to get out at first. And it gets all over the place. Got on there a bit. It's okay. For this gun, I'd expect it, but the metal gearbox version also comes with this barrel, so that kind of annoyed me. The hop-up chamber is also the same as the metal gearbox version. It's, you know, this white chamber that isn't TM compatible. It's somewhat reliable, misfeeds on rare occasion, but you know, for the most part, it stays in place. I actually changed the O-ring out here for a nice sturdy wheel, so it goes nice and slow, but you know, it's nice. It's got the brass fitter on there, so your barrel doesn't wiggle around too much. The gearbox, this isn't all of it, it's just in the nozzle and the motor and some other stuff. So you can see it's a basic clear plastic with, you know, white internals and whatnot. Now what's weird about this gun is that the nozzle on this version was a higher quality than it was on the metal gearbox version, so I swapped those out. What's nice about working on this gearbox is, unlike the Classic Army and especially JG version, the hole for the trigger actually matches, so it doesn't fly out every time you open the gearbox, which is nice. The contacts do wear out in a while on this gun, but I don't know, it's been pretty reliable. It shoots synchroned it. It fires a little over 200 feet per second. That's with the hop up off and broken in a little bit, so it might shoot a little bit higher out of the box. The wiring is decent for an LPEG. It's sadly just as good as the Classic Army wiring. The Classic Army G36 wiring is pretty bad. But yeah, I guess that's about it for quality of parts. Thanks for watching.